26. To a younger brother advising him to take regular physical exercise. Address, date, My dear Sidhu. Received your letter of the 26th February. The report you have given of your new school and your daily life is quite heartening so far as it goes. But there is no mention in it of your physical activities. Page 592. I hope you have not been neglecting them. You have read in your books that health is wealth and illness is a curse. The first thing necessary for sound health is regular physical exercise. It helps digestion, gives energy, and thus keeps both the body and the mind fit. So you can go through your work, physical and mental, without feeling any strain. The brain cannot work if the body does not function properly. In fact, a sound brain can reside only in a sound body. Moreover, what will book knowledge avail if you are broken in health and cannot exert yourself? You are quite young now. In the natural vigor of this age, you may not feel the consequences of neglecting physical exercise, but sooner or later the lesson will be brought home to you, and then you will have to regret for your present neglect. So, you must take regular physical exercise as to the kind of exercise that will suit you. Consult your physical instructor and follow his directions. Hope you are all right. With love, yours affectionately, Satish. The annual sports meet in your school. Post Office, Ranaghat, Nadia, 18th December 1999. My dear Dolon, I am glad to learn that you did so well in the annual sports of your school. My hearty congratulations. We also had our annual sports on the 15th instant. I had given in my name for long and high jumps and stood second in both, having cleared 13 feet and 5 feet respectively. They were rather tame affairs and took a long time to end. The most exciting of all was the cycle race. Pavitra of class 9th took the lead from the first. Parimal of class 10th came up with him soon after. They left the others behind and raced side by side. How we cheered them both! None could feel sure who would win. It was towards the end that Parimal suddenly shot ahead and won the race. The orange race of the junior group gave us much fun. The more eagerly did the boys, with their hands tied behind their backs, jump for the oranges, the more quickly did the things swing away from them. How trying to the boys themselves, but what fun to others. There were other events also, such as pole vault, relay race, three-legged race, skipping, arithmetic race. At the end of the sports, prizes were given to the first two in each item. I got a thermos flask and a small suitcase. Our headmaster then spoke a few words to us on games and sports before we dispersed, hoping this finds you quite well and with love. Yours ever, Karuna. Page 593. 28. A letter of sympathy for failure in the examination. Address and date on the right side top. My dear Ajoy, I am extremely sorry at the news of your failure in the Madhyamik examination. No doubt you had a touch of influenza just before the examination, but I cannot think it would mean so much. However, sad as the event is, you must not take it too much to heart. Examination, you know, is a game of chance, and cases are not rare of even bright students faring badly in it. Moreover, who knows if this failure is not a blessing in disguise? If you had got a second division, you might not have been able to enter a good college and might have suffered in consequence all your life. So cheer up, my friend, take heart and be sure of a good score next year. Please accept my love. Yours ever, Sanat. Yours ever, Sanat. 29. Usefulness of reading newspapers. 15 Sadanand Road, Kolkata 700026. So 23rd July 2004. My dear Arun, just received your letter. I am glad of your assurance to follow the instructions given in my last letter. In the present letter, I write on another thing, usefulness of reading newspapers regularly. In these days, general knowledge form an essential part of education, and the newspaper is the best means for acquiring this knowledge. It keeps us abreast of the current events all over the world. Modern newspapers also contain articles on various subjects and are thus very useful guides to all-round knowledge. A man who does not read a newspaper regularly is like one shut up in a cloister. Ignorant of current topics, he cannot take part in talks and discussions in an enlightened society and seems like a fish out of water in it. Just consider how small he feels and what a poor impression he creates. But of one thing you should be very careful. Most newspapers are party papers. Naturally, therefore, the editorial comments are generally inclined towards the particular political parties they belong to. You should not be guided by these comments, but should keep an open mind and form your own independent opinion on the problems discussed. No more today, hoping this finds you all right. Yours affectionately, Sarath. Page 594. 30th. Educative value of travelling. Sodepur, North 24 Parganas, 25th September 2003. My dear Subhash, received your letter. You have my consent to your plan for a cycle tour in company with your friends. Travelling is a form of education, and a very realistic form of that. It gives you first-hand knowledge of the places through which you pass. It also brings you into contact with different people of different ways of life. These lessons are more interesting and more effective than what you get from books. You read of the majesty of the Himalayas, of the different irrigation projects, of the aboriginal tribes like the Santals and the Kols, and of the lives of village people in the interior. But you cannot have any clear conception of them unless you see them with your own eyes. This is why educational tours are encouraged everywhere. Your plan to travel by cycle instead of by rail or car has appealed to me much. This will enable you to get into touch with all you pass through or meet. This will combine the joy of adventure with the joy of knowledge and experience. Besides, it will be a good lesson in bearing hardships of all sorts: hunger, sun, rain, fatigue, etc. And this is a training so necessary for success in life. Don't forget to give me the details of your tour. Accept my best wishes. Yours affectionately, Father. 31st. A public function you attended. Belur Ghat, 16th January 2004. My dear Dipali, the annual function of our Sanskriti Sangh was held yesterday in the town hall under the presidentship of the principal of the college. The function began with the national anthem sung by about a dozen boys and girls. Then followed some papers on different aspects of culture in general and Indian culture in particular. They were a pleasant surprise to all by reason of the deep thought the authors, all young boys and girls, had given to their subjects. A paper read by a college girl showed how the great epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, had influenced the entire life of the Hindus through ages. It was highly applauded by the whole house. Then followed an interesting program of recitations and music, some of which were of high order. The president summed up the thoughts expressed by the different speakers and added his own view on each of them with his characteristic clearness of exposition. He concluded with an impassionate warning against the abuses that are often committed by the young in the name of culture and progress. The function came to a close with a vote of thanks to all proposed by the President of the Sangha. Hope you are quite well. Yours sincerely, Parul. Page 595. 32. Advising a sister to form simple habits. Address, date, on the right side up. My dear Jyotika, I am glad that you have already won the good opinion of your teachers. You should try to strengthen this impression by your conduct and attainments. Of one thing particularly, you should be very careful. Do not run after style and fashion. Some do this under the idea that prestige and respect depend on them. Nothing can be further from the truth. It is only the vain who give themselves air, and the vain can never win respect. It shows want of culture and weakness of character. Simple habits, on the other hand, are signs of good breeding and strength of mind. They may sometimes bring upon you the snare of the vain, but the sensible will think well of you, and it is their opinion that counts. Your dress must carefully be decent, but decency does not mean extravagance or showiness. All this will not only win you love, but also enable you to find joy even in simple things of life. I hope you will remember these words of your sister. With love and blessings, your affectionately Sabita. 33rd. To a neighbor, requesting him to stop music lessons. Address, date on the right side top. Dear Saral Babu, I am writing this letter on a matter for which I must beg your pardon at the outset. A son of mine, 12 years old, has been lying ill of fever for the last 10 days. Though the case is not serious yet, the doctor is not sure what turn it may take. He has advised us not to do anything that may irritate the patient. Of late, it has been noticed that the boy cannot stand any noise. At night particularly, the slightest sound disturbs his sleep, so he has not been getting any sleep during the last 2 nights because of the music lessons in your house. May I therefore request the favor of your stopping these lessons until my son is on the way to recovery? Please believe me that it is under medical advice that I am making you the request, and even that after a good deal of hesitation. I would have seen you personally, but for the fact that I am down with influenza. I hope you will not take my letter amiss. With regards, yours sincerely, Ramarendranath Banerjee. Page 596. 35. An inspiring example in your life. Address and date on right side top. My dear Manoj, I have just had an example which I am sure will serve as a beacon light all my life. My elder brother returned from Deoghar with his family last evening. A short time after he had reached home, it was found that the briefcase containing most of the ornaments of my sister-in-law were missing, perhaps left behind in the taxi. As the number of the car had not been noted, there was no possibility of tracing it. You may easily realize how we all felt at the time. Shortly after, a car stopped at our door and the bell rang. As I went out, what was my amazement to find the taxi driver who had brought my brother from Howrah with the precious case in his hand. While picking up another passenger, he had noticed it lying inside and had hastened to return it. The case was opened and the contents were found all intact. Of course, Great was our joy at this unexpected recovery of the valuables. But stronger was our feeling of admiration at the honesty of the young Bengali driver. Here was almost a fortune lying at his doorstep, but he would not be tempted. And he was one of those who sometimes looked down upon as uncultured. We did not insult him with any offer of reward, but we gave him what was most valuable, our sincerest gratefulness and good wishes for his success in life. And you may rest assured his noble example will remain an unforgettable memory all my days. Please accept my love. Yours sincerely, Somen. Page 597. 36. About your new address and neighbors. Address and date on the right side top. My dear Amulya, thanks for your letter. You want to know how I like my new place. Well, I have been here only for a month. Yet this short experience has impressed me much. The residents of the locality are mostly middle-class people. Our landlord lives on the first floor. He is a perfect gentleman, and his behavior towards us leaves nothing to be desired. Mother has found a good friend in his wife, and I too have become friendly with their son, who is in the same class with me. Of our next-door neighbors, one is a professor, one a retired school teacher, one a contractor, and one a lawyer. I have already struck up acquaintance with the boys of these families. They are a decent lot, taking more interest in their studies than in so-called clubs. They all speak highly of the locality and assure me that the longer I live here, the more shall I like it. This, in brief, is my first impression of locality. More in my next. With love to you and my other friends. Yours ever, Sarath. 37. To your friend, telling him about the particular branch of studies you have taken up, putting towards the reason of your choice. Address and date right side top. My dear Raja, I am very glad to receive your letter after such a long time. I thought you had forgotten me. It gives me great joy when I hear from you. You are anxious to know about the particular branch of studies I have taken up and the reasons thereof. Let me answer you. Our country at this moment is in need of qualified engineers to build her economy. Hence, I want to be an engineer. It is really marvelous to see how our engineers are building new dams, bridges, and splendid buildings in different parts of India. Many parts of the country, which were so long lying barren for lack of irrigation, may now be reclaimed and are smiling with crops. My heart becomes filled with pride when I think of the unlimited resources of our country. I think I shall be of some service to her if I become an engineer. Moreover, the profession is not yet overcrowded and there are plenty of openings. I expect to earn a decent salary when I enter a professional life. More when we meet. Hope this finds you all right. With love to you and best regards to your parents. Yours sincerely, Subroto. Page 598. Bali, 6th February. My dear Amal, I heard you complaining the day our school closed, that life was getting very much drab and you were getting bored. Here is an idea, my dear fellow. Do you care to share an adventure with me in a small way? Why not let us go to Digha and sniff some fresh ozone for our tired lungs? We have a direct train to Digha these days. We can pack up all that we need in a couple of kit bags. Digha has good rest houses where we can stay in reasonable comfort. The sand dunes, cactus bushes and the long rows of trees lend the place a strange and unearthly beauty. It has a splendid beach. It is firm and has a gentle slope with hardly any backwash. The place is very quiet and restful. I am sure you will feel tempted. Please drop me a line to say yes by the return of post. Ever yours, Sandeep. 39th. To your friend about your visit to a zoo. Address and date on the right side top. My dear Soma, I had a delightful day at the zoo last Saturday. First, I went to the birds section. The hornbill looked very funny with its long and yellow beak. The woodpecker, always so quick and lively, was darting around. The bird of paradise looked as beautiful as a dream. The rhino had just finished his mud bath when I arrived there. The elephant was dancing and I tossed a 10-paisa coin to him. Most obligingly he picked it up and saluted me. We saw the monkeys chattering and swaying from one corner to other inside the cages. The white tigers were new and they drew a large crowd. The Royal Bengal tiger and the lions in their cages looked bored and unhappy. It took me nearly 3 hours to go round, but I was happy at the end. We had tea and snacks inside the zoo and were back at about 6 p.m. I wish you were with us. Yours affectionately, Nupur. Page 599. 40th. A letter to your friend in the USA, acquainting him with the special features of the rainy season in West Bengal and your own feeling about the season. Address and date on the right side top. My dear Alan, thank you very much for your letter dated 2nd April. I am really surprised to know that you don't have any monsoon in the real sense in the USA. Well, things are totally different here. Though officially June and July are the monsoon months, it extends to August and often to September. Thick clouds float around in the sky, bringing in intermittent showers. After the hot summer, heavy rains cool the earth. Ours is an agricultural country. We always welcome the rain which sweep across the land. A good monsoon always brings good crops and good fortune. Nature also seems to enjoy the change, and it looks fresh with full tanks and rivers and greenery all around. But all is not well in the season. Sometimes the rains are very heavy. Roads become waterlogged and the city transport collapses. Rain causes floods in the countryside, bringing in untold misery to the people and the livestock and damage to crops. I am sure the monsoon season here will fascinate you. Why don't you come down here once to share with me the joys of watching the rain? Hope this finds you well. Yours ever, Partha. Left side, the address to whom you are sending the letter. 41st. To your friend about the necessity of learning English. Address and date right side top. My dear Santi, just received your letter. I cannot support the move to dilute the importance of teaching of English at the primary and secondary stages. All good educationists have stressed that learning English helps the students to acquire wide knowledge. In the modern days of scientific research, internet and information technology, English plays a great part in maintaining communication round the world. You must admit that Bengal's cultural renaissance would not have been possible without her association with English language. Poor knowledge of English is the main reason of failure of Bengali students in the All India competitive examinations. So I believe that any decision of ignoring the teaching of English at school level will only harm the people of West Bengal, especially the students who are the future of our country. I hope you will agree with my views. Hope to hear from you soon. Yours ever, Sovan. Page 600. 42nd. To your friend describing what you intend to do if you win a lottery. The address and date on right side top. My dear Leela, received your letter. It is really an amusing question you have set. What I shall do if I win a lottery? Well, I never dream of winning a lottery even in my wildest dream. But here is an answer to your curiosity. If I win, say rupees 1,50,000 in West Bengal State Government Lottery, I shall set apart sums in different headings. To start with, I propose to hand over 50% of the amount to my father for the welfare of our family. I shall also urge him to construct 2 more much-needed rooms for our family. 10% will be kept in long-term fixed deposit to cover our educational expenses. I shall hand over 15% to mother to spend on my sister's marriage. Further, I propose to donate 3 to 5% to my needy relatives, an equal amount to the local poor club. Another 15% will be reserved for emergency. I am now left with barely 5%. Well, perhaps it will not be too selfish if I keep 2% in my bank account and then distribute the rest to my sisters equally. I know very well that my plan to utilize lottery money will remain a distant dream. Do write me soon. Yours sincerely, Swapna. 43rd. To a pen friend in the USA about the most pleasant season in West Bengal. Address, right side top, and the date. My dear Williams, many thanks for your letter dated 2nd March. You wanted to know about the most pleasant season in West Bengal. Winter is the most enjoyable and comfortable of all seasons here. It generally begins in mid-November and lasts till the end of February. During this session, the sky remains very clear and bright. These are cold months and there is very little rain. People enjoy the warm sun fully. A clear, chilly weather free from humidity makes life very pleasant. This is also the season for festivals like Christmas and Saraswati Puja, which are celebrated with all pomp and gaiety. Various functions like book fairs, seminars, conferences, picnics, circus, shows, musical nights are also held in this season, and a festive mood prevails everywhere. I am sure you will enjoy the season very much if you spend a few days here. Hope you are keeping well. Yours ever, Partha. Left side, address of the person who will receive the letter. 44th. Letter of apology to your friend for having failed to keep an engagement. Address and date right side top. My dear Sumit, I am very sorry I could not keep my engagement with you last Sunday. You are aware that I am not a person to break an appointment without any reasonable ground. As a matter of fact, as I was getting ready to get out, I heard a big noise outside my house. I rushed out to find out the reason. I was shocked to find that my younger brother was being assisted by several others to get down from a rickshaw. On inquiry, I was informed that while playing football, he fell heavily on the ground. I was naturally nervous as my parents were not at home that time. I laid him on the bed and called in a doctor. He was all in pain and I was really nervous. The doctor declared that it was a case of heavy sprain and advised him total rest. I sent someone for medicine and waited anxiously for my parents to return. All the time my brother was in agony and I had to take care of him. I hope you will understand the situation and excuse me for having failed to keep the engagement. Hope to see you soon. Ever yours, Kajal.